What do you think the future will look like for cash and voucher assistance?
Cash transfer programming will be even more appropriate, timely, higher quality, and at scale. Cash transfer programming will be cost-effective, diversified, and potentially blended through the other cash flow individuals are receiving. It will be beneficiary-centered, meaning it will be focusing on each individual needs to cover, designed to be user-friendly, localized, and delivered to the last mile. And it will be delivered to financially included beneficiaries, digitized whenever possible, and compliant with regulation. But at the end, it will be always our role as humanitarian organizations to make sure, regardless if and how cash is delivered, that humanitarian needs are addressed within the respect of the humanitarian law, principles, and standards.
Ma référence est le rapport produit par CaLP et Yaran sur le futur de l'assistance financière. Et le rapport analyse expressément les transferts monétaires dans le cadre de l'assistance financière au sens plus large, c'est-à-dire tous les transferts financiers qui peuvent atteindre les personnes touchées par les crises. L'assistance sociale, le transfert de fonds d'émigrés, l'appui peer-to-peer, etc. Et dans ce cadre, le rapport anticipe différents scénarios pour le futur des transferts monétaires par type de contexte et qui sont plus ou moins positifs. Le rapport recommande entre autres aux acteurs humanitaires de prendre très au sérieux nos responsabilités par rapport à la protection des données personnelles, d'analyser notre contribution et notre impact dans le cadre de l'assistance financière au sens plus large, de mieux prendre en compte les besoins spécifiques des personnes déplacées, dont on sait que le nombre augmente continuellement, et de mettre les préférences et la voix des personnes touchées par les crises au cœur de toutes nos décisions. La pertinence de ces pronostics a vraiment été démontrée par l'impact d'eux et la réponse au Covid, qui nous force à reconnaître que nous faisons partie d'un écosystème complexe et qu'on doit opérer de manière plus collaborative, notamment en permettant enfin aux acteurs locaux de jouer un rôle plus proéminent, en renforçant nos partenariats avec le secteur privé et en explorant encore plus les opportunités ainsi que les limitations des technologies numériques.
It depends on the situation in the country. If the situation is stable and the markets are available and the beneficiaries can buy their commodities and their need from the local markets without any kind of difficulties, I think the cash is going to become more than 70% for the assistance. If the situation is not stable and so many problems are going to occur in the local markets and the beneficiaries are going to suffer from buying their needs from the markets, the humanitarian actors are going to play again the role of the in-kind distributor to the beneficiaries. Because I think now it is one even of the attitudes regarding the humanitarian actors, how to help the local market to be recovered and to reactivate it. Hopefully that we are going to make a kind of success, because reactivating the market is not just helping the people to get their needs from the local markets, but it is also one of the economic aspects which is going to help the economic to be recovered again.
What do you think the future will look like for cash transfer? I wish I could say the future is bright, but what I would say is that we must remember that humanitarian CVA makes up only a very small proportion of the overall assistance flows. So I think the future needs to be by default about, who do you need to connect with? Who do you need to build alliances and networks with to make sure that this really tiny flow in the big scheme of things has the greatest impact on the recipients. And that's a scary path, but it's the path that needs to be walked.
Yes, the cash programming in South Sudan, it is becoming so interesting that all the partners are channeling their resources into. I know in 20, 30 years to come, 2022, 2023, at least 15% to 20% of the resources of funds that are channeled to South Sudan will be more on cash programming, because currently with the seasonality, with the challenges of the roads, with the challenges of importing things from outside South Sudan, most people prepare to use cash and voucher assistance. So everyone is now focusing on cash voucher assistance. Even private companies, they are going more into cash and voucher assistance than humanitarian workers. So I know after 5 years to come, as I said, 15% of the funds will be channeled to cash and transfer programming in South Sudan.
In the future, cash programming, I think it's very tied, of course, to the identity. Digital identity is something that we've been talking a lot about. And the future cash programming, these things, two things really tie together, because we want to be able to know who the beneficiary is, but also we want to be putting their data in their hands, right? I mean, that's what GDPR is about. That's what digital ID is about. It's about having the people own their own data. And so I think that will change how we do cash programming, because it will mean that it's more of a consent-based. And right now we have consent, but it could also mean that it's more driven from the recipient side to go looking for programs maybe, or how digital cash will also alter how things are happening. Right now, it depends on where you are in the world. There's different financial service providers, mobile money, some places still are just good old cash. But I think that in this age of the digital economy, this idea of the digital ID, this idea of putting the person's data in their hands could allow us to be more creative when it comes to electronic cash and how it's spent, how it's used, and how we get it in their hands, and how we also can do education, savings programs, start to look at how we help people underbanked get into the banking system.
Now it is like a revolutionary age, or revolutionary era for the cash transfer, even for Yemen. I mean, because there is also some technical expertise here. They are producing the smart card where the beneficiary can go and they can swap the card, and they can get what they need from the supermarket as part of the cash transfer programming. It is easier for beneficiaries that they go to the supermarket and they get, I mean, selective items they need. No need that the wholesaler that he will select for them oil, vegetables, things. No, they can go to the supermarket and they get their monthly smart card and they can swap it and the SOP and they can the POS, and they can get everything they need. For the future, I mean, another thing that mobile money is also advancing in Yemen, which is great, but it doesn't reach to the standard like or to the top like what's happening in Egypt. I know that Egypt, in some areas of Egypt, even the vegetable shops, the fruit shops, they are using the mobile money and restaurants. Here in Yemen, it is used, but only in the big malls, big supermarkets, only some selective groceries, not every time. So I think the future is for the mobile money. It can be advanced even more in the future.
It's a great question. I think it highlights the fact that we should be focusing on cash. Cash is an economic driver, and it's also an opportunity for the whole community to take advantage of many of the new connective systems that are being developed around the world. We have mobile that is increasing in capacity, and we should be in a position where we should take advantage of that. We're also going to have systems where satellite, things like Starnet, are coming within the next 3 to 5 years. So one of the issues that has been raised is often about digital inclusion, and more particularly those people who are not included. I think we should be in a position where we shouldn't be shy of embracing the opportunity where literally within probably 5 years, we will have every square meter of the earth, no matter where you are, actually covered and capable of being addressed via a satellite link. And that in itself will change the game. I think there will need to be much more cooperation between the private sectors, governments, those organizations that have had knowledge about how to implement both anonymized but highly efficient systems to address one person in millions anywhere, where we can actually identify the person who really should receive their benefits. That's a very important part going forward.